The news you can count on. Mayport to Ponte Vedra Beach. The Island Times News Update begins right now. Here's Tom Patton.
Welcome to the Island Times News Update. I'm Tom Patton. The proposed revised special events policy for the city of Jacksonville Beach drew praise and criticism from members of the public during a workshop meeting held Wednesday evening in the Jacksonville Beach City Hall. City Manager George Forbes opened the meeting with a presentation about the major changes to the festival and special events policy. In 2017, there are 93 events on the calendar, as well as 8 festivals that will run a total of 15 days. Those do not include city-sponsored events such as Deck the Chairs, which runs for 5 weeks during the Christmas season, the Air Show, or Spring in the Blues. A festival is defined in the proposed policy as any event in the facility rental area around the Seawalk Pavilion and Latham Plaza that includes alcohol sales and lasts more than 4 hours. But the council will have another option to consider, Forbes said.
And that's events that offer alcohol for sale, distribution, or consumption may be approved if they meet the following criteria. The length of the event is a maximum of 3 hours. The location of the event is limited to the Seawalk Pavilion area only. And the rental area, that includes the pavilion area, the area basically that would be east of 4th Street. And there must be one full weekend without a festival prior to and following the event, i.e. one weekend on, one weekend off.
That would allow for smaller events such as a symphony concert at the pavilion that would allow beer and wine sales, Forbes said. Another major change would be that no elected official, city board member, employee, or their family would be allowed to have any direct or indirect interest in entities that produce festivals in the city. That change stemmed from questions raised about the participation by some council members in producing festivals such as the Celtic Festival and Oktoberfest. The policy also sets new times for festivals, shortens them to only 2 days except for the Air Show, which is a 3-day event, sets a timeline for obtaining permits and insurance, increases the required insurance to $2 million, and would require producers to provide the city with information about the amount of alcohol that was sold during the event. The policies were welcomed by some attending the workshop. Former City Councilman Art Graham, who currently serves on the State Public Service Commission, said that he felt that in some ways the new policy was not restrictive enough.
I don't see why we need to be doing more and more of this stuff. Because it is taxing to people that live here, it is taxing for law enforcement officers, and quite selfishly, I think it's taxing to me.
More than one local businessman said that larger festivals and special events hurt their businesses rather than help. Visitors don't stop in their stores, and many of their regular customers avoid the central business district when events are being held. Jacksonville Beach resident Corey Nichols, who ran for mayor against Charlie Latham in 2016, said the city should consider some kind of entity that would deal specifically with festivals and special events.
There's numerous communities that have really developed something very successful that everybody buys into. I'm not real happy with the way it's going now. You never know what you're going to get every weekend. I think we should look at possibly investing and bringing in an outside group that specializes in what we're doing and really to try to solve some of the problems. Because right now, I don't think anybody's really happy. Everybody's kind of giving a little bit, and I've looked at and read other policies, and the difference is just unbelievable. Where it looks like you've got a college graduate, or you have somebody really smart writing them, and then you have somebody like, it feels like ours is like a high school level kind of thing.
Forbes said that the staff would compile the written comments from the workshop and would work on making any adjustments necessary in the draft policy. He said it would likely be on the agenda for one of the council's meetings in August. A revised Jarboe Park master plan has been submitted to the Neptune Beach City Council and is on the agenda for discussion Monday night. Several city officials have already weighed in on the plan. Vice Mayor Scott Wiley gave Deputy City Manager Amanda Askew a list of 21 comments concerning what he likes and does not like about the plan. Chief among Wiley's concerns are the proposed 15-foot-tall berm on the south side of the pond and reconfiguring the pond itself. He disagrees with placing a bathroom behind the tennis courts, saying they are too isolated, and he feels the baseball field should be left as it is for hurricane debris staging areas as it was during Matthew last year. Councilman Richard Arthur also had some concerns with the plan. He suggested replacing the splash pad with a reflecting pool and said the hedge maze might be difficult to maintain long term. He suggested an alternate use for that area. The Public Works Department also said the berm would be difficult to maintain and that the city did not have the ability to maintain the hedge maze. Police Chief Ricky Pike also objected to the berm, saying that it created areas in the park that could not easily be seen from the street. All of these items will be discussed at the Monday workshop meeting of the Neptune Beach City Council. The current timeline calls for a town hall meeting on the master plan on July 26th. The budget for the plan is currently scheduled for discussion on August 30th, with a final presentation at the regular council meeting September 18th. A final vote on the plan would be taken at the October 2nd meeting, and if passed, implementation would begin on October 5th. When we come back, Atlantic Beach moves forward with its city manager search. This is the Island Times News Update.
The news you can count on. The Island Times News Update will be right back.
Beaches Academy Child Care Center in Jacksonville Beach has been offering affordable, loving child care to families in the Beaches communities for 35 years. Conveniently located on Penman Road, Beaches Academy offers care for children from infants through preschool, with programs that encourage learning and outdoor play. Our affordable tuition means families can get quality child care at a price that fits their budget. Contact Beaches Academy at 246-3885 and schedule a tour of our center. Beaches Academy, the child always comes first.
Welcome back to the Island Times News Update. I'm Tom Patton. The pool of candidates for city manager of Atlantic Beach has been narrowed to 7, and the city will use technology to conduct initial interviews with those candidates. The staff narrowed the pool to 7 through review of the applicants' qualifications. In a meeting last week, 3 members of the commission discussed how the process should be moved forward, but 2 members of the commission were unable to attend that meeting. At Monday night's meeting, the commission discussed how they could further narrow that pool to choose the candidates who would be asked to come to Atlantic Beach for individual interviews. A resident suggested that the interviews be conducted over the internet by city staff, which would be reviewed by the commission and scored to further reduce the pool. Commissioner Jimmy Hill, who was one of the commissioners unable to attend the roundtable meeting, said that while it's important to move the process forward, the commission needs to proceed thoughtfully.
We're not in an urgent situation to make a wrong decision. And I'm just going to visit that theme a lot in case we don't find our exact right person, because as the mayor stated, it's a critical, super important position. I don't suspect we'll have a problem, but I just want to keep mentioning that we're not in the bind that we've been in the past for hiring. We have the benefit of the position and the job being handled sufficiently, if not probably better than it might be in the future, which is good. But I want to make sure we don't act in an urgent situation when there isn't one.
Commissioner John Stinson said that he was more comfortable meeting candidates face-to-face, but he also does not want to slow the process unnecessarily.
Obviously, I feel more comfortable meeting these candidates face-to-face, one-on-one. I think it's a good opportunity for them to ask us questions, about this or that. I think it's a great opportunity for them to meet the residents, for the residents to ask them questions, for them to get a feel for the city. I don't think you get that from a Skype interview, but if the commission thinks that's the best process, I'm kind of like Commissioner Hill. I'm not going to throw up a big roadblock. I get a much more comfortable feel when I meet people face to face than I ever could over an interview such as that.
The commission agreed to move forward with preliminary interviews conducted by the city staff over the internet, though they left open the exact number of candidates that would be asked to come to Atlantic Beach for in-person interviews. Jacksonville Beach will vote on an ordinance Monday that would make it easier for restaurants and bars to establish outdoor seating areas and bring the land use code into line with the low-volume sound ordinance passed earlier this year. The ordinance would make allowable calculations for outdoor seating areas simpler and more consistent, and allow small outdoor seating areas of up to 200 square feet to be established without requiring additional parking. The City Planning Commission recommended approval of the ordinance at its meetings on June 26th and July 10th. In just a moment, the weather for the weekend. This is the Island Times News Update.
The news you can count on. The Island Times News Update will be right back.
Charlie's Tropic Heating and Air Conditioning in Atlantic Beach offers a full range of residential and commercial heating and air conditioning services, from new installation to replacement and remodeling. Charlie's Tropic Heating and Air Conditioning can keep your home comfortable year-round, and they offer preventive maintenance contracts to keep your system running at peak efficiency. Charlie's Tropic Heating and Air Conditioning is an authorized Bryant dealer and will service all brands. For year-round comfort in your home or business, contact the original Charlie's Tropic Heating and Air Conditioning at 241-1788.
The news you can count on. Mayport to Ponte Vedra Beach, forecasting your beaches. This is your local look weather.
The National Weather Service says we can expect mostly sunny skies with a high in the upper 80s on Saturday, with temperatures climbing to near 90 on Sunday. There's a slight chance of an afternoon or evening thunderstorm late in the weekend. Lows will be in the muggy mid to upper 70s. Then to start the work week, partly sunny skies and partly cloudy nights with a daily chance of thunderstorms. Highs will continue in the upper 80s and lows in the mid to upper 70s. The Island Times is always digital, always free at theislandtimes.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter to be the first to know about stories posted on the Island Times. I'm Tom Patton. Thanks for watching.